In order to treat mental health disorders, researchers and medical practitioners must first understand the pathology of the disease. Pathology refers to the underlying cause. In order to do this, researchers must have an understanding of how the brain functions and its anatomy. This module will briefly introduce you to some of the main concepts of neuroanatomy and neurobiology. The smallest unit of structure within the brain is a neuron. A neuron is a cell responsible for transmitting signals to and from the nervous system in the form of electrical impulses. The various components of a neuron include the cell body, an axon, and dendrites. The cell body is where the cytoplasm and genetic material are contained. Think of the cell body as the control center of the neuron. The axon is analogous to a wire through which a signal is transmitted. The dendrites, on the other hand, are like electrodes, which are able to join multiple wires and send signals from one wire to the next. Dendrites act in the same way and are responsible for sending a signal from one neuron to the adjacent neuron. In order to understand how this occurs, we will look at the components of a dendrite. A dendrite has transporter proteins found on its end. These proteins are responsible for releasing neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are small molecules in the brain that can activate an adjacent neuron or inhibit it based on the signal it is sending. In order to reach the adjacent neuron, the neurotransmitter must first travel through a small area called a synapse. This is essentially the space between the dendrites of one neuron and the dendrites of an adjacent neuron. By this logic, the neuron releasing the neurotransmitter is the presynaptic neuron, and the neuron to which the neurotransmitter is traveling towards is called the postsynaptic neuron. As we can see, this is an elegant system by which one neuron releases neurotransmitters to send a signal to an adjacent neuron. As we look more in depth about how changing the amounts of various neurotransmitters in the brain, we begin to understand the pathology of various mental disorders. And more importantly, we begin to understand how we can treat them. Be sure to go to our website and watch our videos describing the impact of mental health medication and on neural activity.